Great to have you with us on the program today. This Week in America, website thisweekinamerica.us. As mentioned, our guest on the program, Dr. Randy McDonald, inspirational and motivational speaker, business and life coach, author, successful businessman and entrepreneur. Author of the book we'll be talking about on the show today. It's all about control or lack thereof, methods to take control of your life that work. Dr. McDonald, welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us today.
I'm happy to be here.
It is an excellent book. So many things as you're reading through there. It's like, okay, I've got to take a note on this, and this actually is going to work in my life. Let's set the stage for this. Let's go back and talk about where this whole title and concept came from. I understand basically what the middle of the night as you're working on presentations for seminars, you start thinking it's one of those 2:30 in the morning, you're up at the computer writing things down. How did this whole concept about it's all about control come about?
Well, I do a lot of research for my work, and there was a book that I was reading about how the effect on the human body and how it was affected by your ability to have control of your situation or be out of control of your situation, or in this case, lack thereof, as it says in the title of the book. And after I read article after article and book after book on the subject, none of which addressed it directly. They were talking about how your attitude affected the chemistry in the body and other things, but it never once went to the extent of saying this is directly related to control. And so that's where the idea came from.
Dr. Randy McDonald, our guest on the program. His website is holisticmanagement.net. It's a very informative website. The book we're talking about is It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, Methods to Take Control of Your Life That Work. Again, Dr. Randy McDonald. The book is available at Amazon, bookstores across the country, and information available at the book. It's all about control. And it's interesting, you were saying at this time you were actually working with a coach and a mentor, and she had said to you that she had given you permission. Was this sort of a subconscious message that was given to you that regarding control?
I would say that it was. Sometimes you need to have someone else give you permission without really realizing it to do something, to step forward and take control in your life and in your environment. That's what a lot of coaching is about. That's what a lot of counseling is about, is regaining control of yourself and or your environment. So I was given permission, if you want to use that particular expression, to proceed with this concept.
The book, It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, is a really easy read, and you mentioned before that nobody really had delineated it to the extent that you have in the book, and you read through this, and it's so easy to understand, it's so easy to follow, and it makes so much sense. And you talk about this going back to your childhood, and you had a rough childhood. I mentioned all the successes you've had in life. You've had your setbacks along the way. Talk about that childhood, because you went through a number of years with your mother, a single mother, and brothers and sisters growing up, and it was difficult for you, and you learned a lot of valuable lessons during that period.
Well, indeed I did. When my mother decided to divorce my father, we went out on the road, and we lived in a convertible which leaked, and that's only relevant because when we got to Portland, Oregon, it was raining, and of course the leak was important there. But we'd drive down the road and stop in some little town, and if there was a help wanted sign in the local restaurant, my mother would go in, and if she could get the job as a waitress, she'd put us up in the local flea bag motel and enroll us in school. And when she got enough money to move on, she'd put us back in the car and off we'd go. And I actually have school documents that show that I went to 11 different grammar schools in 1 year. So
That's amazing. When I read that, it's like, okay, 11 different grammar schools moved a lot. And then I saw in 1 year, you really moved a lot. I mean, you were like education on wheels at that point. I mean, you kept going from school to school. And it's interesting as you look back on that, and you were very well behaved, and your mother was relying on the kids to be behaved so that she could earn a living and provide food for everybody. And you'll learn the difference there between being under control, having yourself under control, and being in control. Talk about that, because when you think about it, so often we find ourselves under control, but not in control. And there's a dramatic difference, which we'll talk about in the program.
Absolutely. Being under control is when someone else is exerting the pressure and you are adhering to what they want you to do. You're letting them have control of your situation, and you acquiesce to whatever it is that they're requiring of you. And being in control is a situation where you yourself have chosen a path, and you choose to do things in a certain way consciously.
Yes. The book is called It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, Methods to Take Control of Your Life That Work. Our guest on the program is Dr. Randy McDonald. His website is holisticmanagement.net. You can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and link on directly. Talk about what it's like to be under control, some of the signs of that, because some people may be under control and really not fully understand it.
Well, the difference between being in control of your life and being under control, and this is where we get a lot of rebellion from people. It's because they're under control and they're not in control. So someone else, the symptom of it is often almost mechanical. You go through and you do this and you do that and you follow this and you follow that, but you're only doing it to satisfy someone else. You're not doing it to satisfy any of your basic needs other than to avoid pain. And that pain is what you would get where you're not allowing yourself to be under control. And avoiding pain is one of the biggest mechanisms that we use to cope with the world. Ever since the first amoeba came into being, it's instinctive to avoid pain. So when your mother tells you to do something and you know that there are consequences if you don't do it, then you're under control if you do it. If you choose not to do it, then you have to suffer the consequences, which are usually pain.
And you talk about how critical it is for us to carefully assess the situation, determine what state we're in, know if we are in control of the situation, whether we're not in control of the situation, and if it's impossible for us to be in control of the situation. So knowing exactly where we are is crucial, isn't it, in determining our course of action?
That's true. And I'm glad you brought that up, because on the resource section of my website, there are a series of tools which will allow that assessment to take place, or allow you to self-assess your situation and decide what it is that you're, whether you're in control of the situation or whether the situation is in control of you. And so there's one of them is a tool that says, what are you tolerating? And what are you allowing yourself to put up with? And then once you've identified those tolerations, then you go about eliminating them and making them disappear, which will make you feel better.
And I'm sure when you go back and you're looking at different situations, you realize, yes, I am tolerating. This is not a situation impossible for me to control. I have just allowed this to get out of hand. And with this knowledge, you're able to go in and take control of that situation. It's all about control or lack thereof, methods to take control of your life that work. Our guest on the program, Dr. Randy McDonald, inspirational and motivational speaker, business and life coach, successful author, businessman, entrepreneur. The website is holisticmanagement.net. A lot of great information there. Information on the book and a lot of excellent information there as well. Dr. McDonald travels the country putting on seminars, actively involved in mentoring and coaching people. All of that information available at his website. Something else that's stated in the book that we really need to talk about because it's vital to the concept about taking control. You say that controlling what goes on in your head is probably the most important aspect for all of us, and it will play into every part of your life. It all starts, between the ears?
Yeah, it all starts between the ears. And one of the things that most of us do is we talk to ourselves in negative ways. And we all talk to ourselves, but you really have to pay attention to what it is and the way you phrase what you say to yourself. An example of things that a lot of people say to themselves is, "I'm so stupid." Well, not necessarily. Just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you're stupid. But if you keep telling yourself you're stupid, there's a good possibility you're going to believe that after a while. So that's that's an example of the type of conversation that you have in your head that you need to guard against and change that into, well, I made a mistake, but I don't have to make that mistake again. The next time I go through this particular scenario, I can change what I do. Okay? And if you drop something, that's just a lack of coordination, not stupidity.
Well, yes. And you hear people say, it's out of my comfort zone. I'm a little concerned about doing it. I've said that. And then you wonder after a while, okay, by saying that, am I setting myself up for failure? Am I subconsciously planting that I really can't do this task because I'm just telling myself I can't do that? Do we send messages to ourselves like that inadvertently?
Yes, inadvertently. And that's where I'm advocating that you start thinking about it and becoming conscious of those things that you say to yourself that are self-limiting. And exactly your example was a perfect one. It doesn't have to be totally negative. It's just, as you said, I'm a little uncomfortable in this situation. And so before you've ever gone into it, you're already telling yourself that you're uncomfortable.
Dr. Randy McDonald, our guest on the program. His book is called It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, Methods to Take Control of Your Life That Work. His website is holisticmanagement.net. Inspirational, motivational speaker, business, life coach, author, all of the information available at the website. Book available at Amazon as well. And you can go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and get more information. Time rapidly running out on the program. It's a great topic, and we'll have Dr. McDonald back in the program. You talk about something in there, the connection in dealing with the grieving process. And we've all heard this, and we're sort of told this is a wives' tale. We see elderly couples that will die within several days of each other. And you're saying there really is a connection between the immune system and our minds.
Yes, scientific evidence, and a lot of it support this. And the reason that happens, and it does happen statistically often, is that when you start the grieving process, it suppresses the immune system. So the T cells, the things in your body that help you fight disease, and the white blood cells, that whole system gets suppressed. So an elderly person who has been happy in a relationship and finds himself grieving, and while they've been happy, they've been successfully fighting off an illness, can suddenly succumb to that illness because their immune system is no longer functioning the way that it should be.
It's All About Control, the book, or It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, Methods to Take Control of Your Life That Work. And when Dr. McDonald's back with us, we'll talk about taking control of your life and some of the methods that work. We'll leave with one here as I'm looking through, and you've got a whole chapter with tips on things that you can do literally to take control and to turn your life around. Let's talk about the role briefly here at the end of the program on affirmations. And you've touched on that, I think, a little bit during the course of the program. How important are those, the affirmations that we need to say to ourselves, whether it's verbally or mentally, so we can take control of the situation?
Well, I use affirmations all the time, and positive affirmations really keep you directed down the path that you want to go down. Now, if they need to be the replacement for the negative reinforcement that you're using. So every time you find yourself saying something negative to yourself, you need to replace that with a positive affirmation, which means you have to sit down and, in the present positive tense, write down what it is that you want to be saying to replace that particular negative that you are saying to yourself. And present positive is the way that it has to be written.
So as an example, if we're about to make a presentation at the office and we're not real comfortable getting up in front of people and we're about to walk into that room, we should use an affirmation. And again, does it need to be said out loud, or it can be just sort of mental, that's sort of like giving us that boost that we need to go in and to be able to conquer that room?
Well, first of all, let me answer the question about out loud. Standing around in the hallway talking to yourself probably is not the best thing to do. But I believe that using all of your senses is important. So when you're doing the affirmations by yourself, you should say them out loud, and you should use something physical to emphasize it, some type of a key that you can use later to click that affirmation into place. But yeah, you should say, if you're nervous about going in there, you should say to yourself, you know, I know that I know. Okay, I'm glad that I'm here. And when you go into your presentation, if you stand in front of the group and you say to yourself, I know that I know, I'm glad that I'm here, and I care about you. And that's really important that you say, I care about you, because that means you're telling yourself that you care about the audience. And when you do that, you come across in a different way than you would otherwise.
Excellent tips and hints, and you will find them all in the book. It's All About Control or Lack Thereof, Methods to Take Control of Your Life That Work. Our guest on This Week in America has been Dr. Randy McDonald. His website is holisticmanagement.net. The book's available all across the country. Information available at the website. A lot of great resources at the website as well, holisticmanagement.net. If you can't remember that, just go to our website, thisweekinamerica.us, and you can link on directly to Dr. McDonald's website. Much more to talk about from the book. We will have Dr. McDonald back in the program. Sir, thank you for being with us. It's an excellent book, a lot of great information today. Looking forward to having you back with us.
My pleasure.
You're listening to This Week in America. All the information on today's show available at our website, thisweekinamerica.us.